Hi guys. So this is a video. I, it's basically a video I was going to make a video of me unboxing this product, but now I have to basically make a video of showing you why this specific product was not working properly out of the box. So this video is brought to you by Sweetwater, and um so basically we're going to use this as a project creation station. So basically, which is just a computer with the DAWs on there for music production. Um so I was going to basically show you what the issue was. So basically, I was going to tell you what the issue was, but I'm going to show you in this part. I'm about to show you in the video is what the computer looks like, and also what kind of what kind of cable I'm using. So, and I will get back to you after that. As I was saying, as I was saying in the other part of the video, that here's a computer, and I'll show you there. It's going to here, which don't matter. Here's the power supply. So yeah, I'm gonna go show you the rest of the video. So see the rest of it, and I'll tell you my opinions about it more. Now that you've seen that part, so I'm gonna show you what the packaging looked like, and so yeah, so this is a new camera angle I'm using right now. So basically, this is sorry about the autofocus. This camera's getting replaced with a better one for this. So this is a Targus universal laptop charger, and it has a Lenovo plug for a Lenovo Tiny slash other Lenovo PC that uses this plug. This one is for an HP only. This one's for a um Dell only. This one is for Acer, Asus, Dell, and HP, which is the one I use for the computer. And because the charger that came with because the power cable that came with the computer basically failed, and so I informed Sweetwater about this, and so basically this one's for Dell and HP. So what happened was the power cable that came with it. Basically, I turned it on, hooked it up. I turned it on, installed Windows after unboxing it, and then I basically, after I unboxed it, I hooked it up to its final position, did a couple test files, and then after I did a couple test files, I basically shut it down to move it into its final place, and hooked all the rest of the cables up after getting Windows set up and everything. And so then after that, I turned it on. No, no power. The light just blinked, and then I basically tried changing the RAM to some RAM from this computer right here, and I also tried changing the SSD to an NVMe SSD, and also just another state SSD. It takes NVMe though because it's a B slot, and so I tried that, and it just didn't work. It still didn't power on, and so after that, I went on the internet, and I contacted Sweetwater, and they paid for this to be shipped like me. You can get this thing from Target, but after I informed Sweetwater about this, they'll be sending one of these with actually the machine instead of using the regular charger cable. So power cable, and you have to use this one right here because this is the only one that fits. And so it's basically a power brick. It's 95-watt power brick, and then you hook this into power brick, hook it into the computer, and then it would power up. The because what was in there was a 2.5-inch SSD, and also a NVMe slash also the SSD it came with. Those weren't the issues. It powered on after changing the power brick because it powers on for the first time. But if you have the SSD and also not SSD in there, it, and also that's all that's plugged in because that's what I have plugged in. And after shutting it down and turning it back on, it just would not power on because of the issue with basically the power supply not providing enough wattage. This power supply provides, if I recall correctly, this power supply for here right here, the power supply is 100 and to 200 VAC, 50 to 60 hertz, 2.5 amps, a 4-foot AC cable. Output is 19.5 EDC, or and also 4.61 amps. It's 90-watt max up to 90 watts continuous power, 6-foot cable. And you get the charger, and you also get the AC adapter and 5 tips, which are these ones right here. And so just reading the specs of this one, because I was just looking for something that could power it, because I basically made sure it wasn't, I made sure it was a hardware issue, it wouldn't boot either way. So after that, I actually took this computer's charger that's right here, and plugged it into the computer just by trying it, because I didn't know, because if it would have worked, sweet. If it didn't work, it didn't cost me anything, and also technically it just didn't work. It wouldn't work, and so the worst thing was happening. It wouldn't boot. It wouldn't destroy anything, and so I just tried putting this charger cable into there, and it worked. And this is a 230-watt charger, because with how to boot a computer, you don't want lower than its wattage. And for the computers that I showed you, wattage need, I mean, power supply needed is 2,000 milliamp hours. I mean, 2,000 milliamps, and this one, or 2,000 milliamps, and this one is a 2.4 milliamps. I mean, 2.5 milliamps. So you literally can just get a. It should work either way. So I plugged in, crossed my fingers that because I didn't actually check this to see what was this, because there's no spec of this unless you actually have the item. And so basically because of on the other website, they don't actually tell. It only says it's 90 watts. It doesn't say if it's 2.5 amps or more or less, because if it's less, it wouldn't power on. And if you basically try to power a 2 amp device with a 1 amp charger or like cable, the cable will start smoking. But because the more wattage you put in it, it doesn't matter, because it will do a step down in the transformer part. But if you put in less, it can either catch on fire, or the device will just smoke, or it won't work. The best thing that would happen, it would basically not work. The middle thing that could happen is it smokes, which wouldn't do damage to your surroundings. But if you put in more, it could start a fire, and a fire could actually spread. And so I was taking a chance. I actually plugged this into a actual outlet that was in a place where there was an actual what's that thing called, a fire extinguisher, just in case there was a fire. And so that was in my garage, one of them, and that was like near a plug that I didn't really mind if that stopped working. I didn't want to do this in the house just in case it didn't work. So I was taking a chance, because it didn't actually tell you unless you actually read on the box. And so when you actually get the item, it only shows the contents of there, not the rated wattage, stuff like that. So that was for the cable and background of the cable. And so this is what they sent me. It came with a cable. It came with a cable, and came with power cable. The power cable didn't actually work, so I did an unboxing of this, and I ended up having to delete it because of I thought the machine wasn't working properly, and I could actually fully test the video. I couldn't fully test it, so I didn't want to basically say something that would have basically said, "Oh, this is worth getting," which it is. This device is worth getting as long as you get a secondary power supply, like from Target. I know that one works. They have other ones. You can get an MSI one, but the MSI charger costs $100 for the specific one because it's for the GS66 stuff, and the device itself doesn't the device it comes with the one it comes with just wasn't up to it. But you get the computer, you get an HDMI cable, you get a tiny HDMI cable to go from the back of the TV / monitor to the HDMI, and you get screws. These screws specifically, you get these screws that these screws basically are meant for the back of your TV, or these are meant for the back of your monitor, and then these smaller screws are meant to screw on to the back of the device, and then you just you screw this onto the back of the device, and then once you screw this onto the back of the device, you screw this onto the monitor, and yeah, that's what came in there. The specs of this, and you also get this machine right here. This the tiny computer has USB-C 3.2 Gen 3.2 Gen 2, so it's the 10 gigabit port. Two USB-A 3.0 ports, or 3.1, 3.2 Gen 1, whatever. It also has a headphone jack, power button, and in the back it has two USBs, two Ethernet, and two HDMI, and a barrel plug that you would need a different cable for. And I recommend this one. You can get if you're buying this separately, not from actually Sweetwater, you can literally get the creation. You actually get the creation station would basically come with this, and also the software to basically run the actual DOS. The only difference is it won't come in this package, and it will come in a brown box. So this packaged in separately, and this packaged inside the box. So basically, you won't be getting this, and you won't be getting this retail box to be in a brown box. And so they have three different spec versions. For the beer, if you want to buy it separately and you want to do all this stuff yourself, it would be it'd be cheaper to get it from Sweetwater, because this one is $249 if you get it from a manufacturer website, and this would be $41, and so it'd be $280, while Sweetwater for basically $250. So this and the price of this would basically, plus the DAWs would cost you $250, and you get this is for the version I have here, which is the 256 gigabyte version. If you want the 120 gigabyte version, that would cost $10 less. If you want the 512 gigabyte version, that would cost $10 more. So $239 or $259 or $249. And so and this one basically they each have the same exact specs, other than the storage. This one has 8 gigs of RAM. The 128 version has 8 gigs of RAM, 128 gigabytes of this one is of SSD SATA storage. The 256 has 256 gigabytes of SATA storage, and the 512 has 512 gigabytes of SATA storage. All have 8 gigs of RAM, but the only difference is um that they both that they both that all three of them have the ability to actually replace the SATA drive with an NVMe SSD, even though it doesn't show on the site that it can use NVMe, but it can use NVMe. It basically it was you can put an NVMe SSD in there, or you can put a SATA SSD in there, or you can put a SATA 3 SSD for so a 512 gigabyte SATA SSD or 1 terabyte SATA SSD that's in M.2 format or an NVMe SSD, and you can put a 512 or 1 terabyte or 8 terabyte SATA hard drive 2.5 in there, or whatever you decide. You actually can have this configurable with like the storage amount you want, so they allow you to add a secondary SSD in there, but it'll cost more. So their options are 512, 1 terabyte, 2 terabyte, 4 terabyte, and 8 terabyte. And if you're doing music production, you want more storage. The operating system OS drive I would say you could go with I recommend 256, because 256 you can literally just you can have your DAW on there and all your plugins on like the other drive, and just have an external hard drive to like save your actual data to for your actual products. And you can basically either save it to internal storage, or you can save it to a external, and it would be fast if you plug it in front. In the back, it would be slower. Going back here, there is a 120. It's 120 millimeter by 113 millimeter by 41 millimeter. It supports multi languages. It supports BGNAC, so it supports Wi-Fi 5, NG and B, at 2.4 and 5 gigahertz. That's if you're using Wi-Fi. The LAN, if you're doing music production, you're going to use the Ethernet. Also, if you basically have this, if you buy this from actually Sweetwater, they basically have it installed with all the drivers on there, and you basically can once you install, they'll have all the drivers installed with the latest updates, and also the the DAW of your choice, or DAWs if you use multiple, like Fruity Loops, Studio One, Cubase, pretty much those are the only ones I can think of right now. I use Logic sometimes, and I also use Cubase. Also I use occasionally Avid, but that's just, you can have all those pre-installed. As two USB 3s in the front, two USB 2s in the back, USB C. That's 10 gigabit, two HDMI LAN, so two LANs at 1 gigabit, and it also has a barrel jack. Wouldn't use the cable that comes with it, because you might think it's broken if it doesn't turn on and the light blinks. I had to figure that one out, because of the issue was it just wouldn't turn on, and I had to contact Sweetwater. They sent me one. I told them that about this, and they'll provide this cable with the actual thing. And then there's the audio jack. M.2 supports NVMe / regular SATA. So basically, there's a SATA SSD slot. It supports a 7 millimeter one only, and the adapter is 100/240 volts, 50 to 60 hertz, It's basically a DC 12 volt slash 2 amp adapter, which isn't enough to actually power this machine if you have the if you're using it for stuff. And this one has a Celeron. This one actually this one specifically has a this one has a not so no so this one actually has there are basically three different versions of the Beelink one. That's the Gk55, which is the first one, which is the Celeron. Second one, which is the i5. Well, they also have an i3 version, and they also have an i7 version, but they're mobile CPUs, unlike the Celeron one, which is also technically mobile because it's J4125 for Celeron. The i5 is a 10th gen i5 mobile chip. Same with the i3 and same with the i7. And you can get this off their site if you wanted to, or buy it for Sweetwater. Sweetwater will basically will give you the configuration you want. So you have a choice of basically the 256 storage, 128, 512, and a Celeron i5, i3, and i7 mobile CPUs, and the only difference is because if you take them apart, they don't have dual channel slots, so it's just a single RAM channel. So yeah, um, um, there's an Intel. This is Intel, so the only thing I would actually do is if you actually get one of these, you may want to change the actual thermal paste, or you should change the thermal paste, which I did actually that just to have better paste than what was in there. I used what's that stuff called, liquid metal, and put it on there. Yes, not for long term usage, but it keeps it a little bit cooler. I would also, if you wanted to like use, you could use Conductonaut or Cryonaut from Thermal Grizzly if you wanted to. Or if you want some cheaper paste, you could use what's that stuff called, Corsair, or for CPU specifically, Noctua paste, which is really good. Um, um, but to like take off the actual top, you have to unscrew some like screws that are at the bottom of here. There's one in this corner, this corner, this corner, and that corner. And then once you unscrew them, the top will pop off, and then you can basically change the thermal paste, and you can put in another SSD in where like the Wi-Fi is at. If you don't want to use Wi-Fi, you can just unscrew the Wi-Fi chip and then put in a small form factor SSD there, and have 2 terabytes of storage there. If you wanted to get a 1 terabyte say SSD, a 1 terabyte NVMe SSD, or regular state SSD, that'd be 2 terabytes. And then you could basically get a 4 terabyte one NVMe, or you can get a 8 terabyte NVMe, which would give you 8 plus 2 terabytes, which is the max for the small one, which would be 10 terabytes plus another 8 terabyte SSD. You have maximum pre-configured. Is like they offer an option to basically like to upgrade the SSD that it comes installed with to something with more storage. So 8 terabytes is the maximum. So you can have 8 plus 8, 16 plus 2 equals 18 terabytes of storage. and you can have that in a tiny machine. And then if you wanted to, you could increase it even more by taking 2 more 8 terabyte SSDs, putting them into a USB enclosure and putting it here, which will give you another 16 terabytes of storage. And then you could literally then put 16 plus 16 is 32, so 32 terabytes of storage, plus the 2 terabytes, which will be 34 terabytes. And if you want to add hard drives in the back, you could add hard drives because it's running USB 2. Can't saturate USB 3, so basically hard drives can't saturate USB 3. So you could have another two drives that are 18 terabytes each. If you wanted to, that's the most I would put on there. That'd be 18 plus 18, which would be which would be that would be over almost 100 terabytes of storage with just drives, and you could actually turn this into a NAS if you wanted to have a tiny little machine for NAS. If you didn't want to use it as a creation station, or if you just wanted something cheap for like a Raspberry Pi, but Raspberry Pi size that runs x86 if you wanted to, or you could basically just run Windows, whatever you decide to actually run. Linux, there's good Linux drivers on here, which they actually have the Linux support drivers on their website. Yeah. You can also have it turn on with auto boot if you plug it into a UPS, and when the power is restored, if it shuts down, then you can have it auto turn back on. But you have to do a BIOS update with that, and it comes pre-shipped with the BIOS installed on there that does this. Well, at least this one did. So yeah, that's this product. Would I buy it? Yeah, I would definitely buy this. And sorry for the long video. It is just a informative video. Okay, thank you for watching. Bye.